we've got a big task for us to go down to Arizona and compete, and we've got to obviously improve from where we've been here the last several weeks and go out and try to do better. So that's where we're at.
David Harrison's been really good for your defense. Great acquisition so far. Playing pretty well. But I'm curious, what has he meant for the young guys, Deshaun, Ashawn, who are playing pretty good football in their own right?
You know what? I think it's critically important. When you get a guy like that who's just an unbelievable professional, comes into a building obviously in the middle of a season and hasn't really been here through the spring and through training camp and has a lot to learn, and he's trying to just get his bearings in general. It's not a situation when you get traded in the middle of the season where you kind of wake up and your whole world shifts pretty quickly. And for him to come in with just an unbelievable attitude and just a desire to, do everything that he can to help us and to learn what we're doing very quickly and get on board. And for him to go out and have the production that he's had out on the field with that, and then take those guys in that room and, kind of bring them along with the other guys that we have in there, like Ricky Jean, who's another guy that's been around a little bit. And I just think it's been great. I think it's really been very healthy for that room and has really kind of helped that unit grow quite a bit. And some of the things that we talked about, maybe on Monday or whatever it was, as far as some of the improvement that we've seen has really, been attributed to some of that stuff in the front with those guys in the D-line and the linebackers and kind of that unit working together. So I just think he's been great. I think we obviously got a long way to go and all that, but for a guy in that situation, it's never easy, and I think he's done a great job with it.
Yeah, given the problems that Arizona has on its offensive line, all the new starters, the rookies, how much do you count on your front taking advantage of what could be an opportunity for them?
Well, I think, look, they're going to be on their side of the ball coaching and understanding their situations, and we have situations on our side too, and we're all trying to make sure we do the best thing possible to help us all win. So we'll see how it goes when we get in the game. I know they'll have done some things with the different lineup changes that they have in the offensive line to help themselves in those situations, and they've been able to get the ball out quickly. They've been able to block it up, use some extra guys in protection, been able to run the ball, obviously, just have a great back in David Johnson, have a great player in Larry Fitzgerald. The quarterback's mobile, so he kind of can buy some time there also. And I think they're just using their strengths to their advantage in that situation to make up for whatever, maybe deficiencies they have.
Just to follow up on the David Harrison question, it seems like that pairing with him and Ashawn has been one that you've gone to quite a bit on early downs, especially. Just wondering what you like about those two together.
Yeah, you know what? It's kind of changed by the situation, to be honest with you. I think all those guys that have been out there and playing, and whether it's Ashawn or Deshaun Hand or Ricky Jean, whoever it's been, or even Kerry Hyder when he's been active too, is just trying to get those guys in situations and positions based on maybe some of the calls that we have, that kind of fit their strengths to the best of their ability. And it's going to be different by game, but I think in general those guys just, like I said, all of them have worked really hard to kind of improve themselves in those areas that we're asking them to, and we need more of it. We got to continue to get better there, but I think there's different combinations that we use based on maybe some situations.
So in light of the Jalen news, I just was thinking about this. You got a couple other young guys, Carry On and Jamal, who are returning from injuries, obviously big parts of your future. At what point is there, I don't know, do you consider just shutting them down, or at what point does the risk outweigh the reward of bringing them back for whatever games they may be able to play?
For us, the injury thing is still the same. We're just, day to day with it and trying to evaluate our players as they're trying to work themselves back into a situation where they can go help us and go compete, and that's really where we can kind of keep it at this point.
Strictly like a medical decision, and there's no hey, if you can only come back for 2 weeks,
we're just, again, we're kind of day to day to see how they feel, and as soon as there's a situation, if they feel they can play and they can help us, win in that situation, then, we go from there.
How big of a loss is Kirk for them?
Say again?
How big of a loss is Kirk for them, the wide receiver?
Yeah, he's a pretty good player, so, kind of okay with that. But, I think speed, this guy's fast. I think he's really done a great job for them to allow him some of the passes that you see downfield. Quarterback's got a really strong arm now. This guy's a good player. Rosen, he moves in the pocket well. He kind of gets out of trouble. He's got a good feel for the pass rush. He sets up the run game with the play action. He's been able to push the ball vertically. I think for them, though, they have some young players that, are stepping in those roles and really, been able to capitalize on those situations, even through the tight end position. Some of those guys are just, they're, stepping in and making the most of their opportunity. So certainly from standpoint of Kirk, really good player, really dynamic, great speed, good route runner, good hands, all that stuff. So, it happens, when you lose players like that, but the next guy's got to step up, whether it's, Seals Jones at the tight end position, or it's Nelson, who's another speed guy. I mean, he's out there, he's extremely fast. Wilson, who's kind of been hurt, but he should be back. Another guy that's a good route runner, able to get open. He's got good, strong hands, catches the ball in traffic. Obviously, Larry Fitzgerald's, he's phenomenal. Sherfield's another guy that's another really good player for him. So they kind of just roll them all through, and they're able to kind of manage that situation with a lot of good players.
Back to the carry-on thing, just touching back on the carry-on, being a rookie, how important is it for a rookie to go into the offseason and have a full, healthy offseason?
I think it's important for every player that can to have a good offseason and to go through it. But, whatever the situations are, we just deal with them when we get to that point. Certainly that's a long way off for us right now, and we're just trying to do everything we can to get ready for the Cardinals. But I think it's great for every player to be able to have a full offseason. That's kind of where, we're able to kind of do the most with them before we get to training camp. But doesn't really kind of dictate either way. People have kind of done it all different ways and still been able to have great seasons. So we're just kind of going day by day right now.
You have an opponent with these sudden attrition issues. Is there blind spots in the game planning because you maybe don't know how they're going to compensate for those losses? Are you guessing based on personnel or scheme?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I think definitely it's difficult. You have to try to plan for things that you've certainly seen first and foremost, off of the tape and through their history of whatever games they've played and situations they've played, maybe similar to the situations that they have now. But there definitely are elements that can come up that you're not going to have seen or have ready from a game plan standpoint. You're going to have to be able to adjust once you get into the game. So, I mean, certainly, they have the ability to do that. They have a lot of good players, a lot of skilled players that can step in, and they've shown other packages like, when the two backs are out there, for instance, and, they decide to do things with Edmonds and put him out, or they'll put Johnson out, and they'll kind of do some things formationally too. So you have to be ready for that. You want to try to just make sure you have the main things that you've seen on tape handled and kind of make sure that you're doing a good job of defending against the majority of what they do, and you're going to have to handle some of the stuff that you haven't seen before. It's just kind of how it goes.
In general, do rookie quarterbacks have, is there some weakness to their game that you can try? What you played one earlier, you got one this week, next week. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. You never want to generalize a player, you know what I mean, and put him into a category because certainly everybody's different, So we take everybody at their fullest, and we expect that they're going to come out ready to go, and they're going to give us everything they got. And when they do, we got to be ready for it. So that's just always how you approach it. There's a lot of strengths and weaknesses as far as Rosen is concerned, and that's my biggest concern is to make sure we have that stuff handled. He can beat you, and obviously he can win in tough situations. So we got to do a good job there.
Last question. Yeah, one thing about Chandler Jones, he's been a big hitter for them, just like he was for you. What do you see about him now at this stage of his game?
Chandler's a great player. I mean, he has been since since we got him, and really someone that developed very quickly into a dynamic player for me, and then for obviously Arizona, a guy that can play both the run and the pass. He's extremely long. He's quick. He's got a little bit of an unorthodox kind of style that is very difficult to block when he's in his pass rush mode. So he's been the biggest thing I would say for him is just if you look at the consistency in which he's played year after year and the production of which he's had year after year. I think you got to just understand he's one of the best players in the league, and he just had that consistency to do that. And it's not only just in the pass rush, but it's in, everything else of the game. And he's a guy that brings great energy. He's competitive, and, he wants to go win, and he's certainly a leader for them. And, that'll be a big challenge for us this weekend. Okay. All right. Thanks.